Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unassisted Triple Play. I am your host, Hunter Mulholland, and it is deadline week for Major League Baseball, as well as this past weekend was Hall of Fame induction weekend. Uh, Ichiro Suzuki, Billy Wagner, CC Sabathia, Dave Parker, and Dick Allen were the inductees this year. Ichiro's speech calling out the one voter that left him from being a unanimous Hall of Famer. CC, giving props to everybody in his life that helped him get to where he belongs, and also throwing a jab at Ichiro for taking away the Rookie of the Year in 2001. Uh, Billy Wagner becoming the 8th full-time reliever to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That is very impressive and a long time overdue, in my opinion, for Billy Wagner. He was a fantastic closer and relief pitcher during his career, and he earned it. And you could see him climbing up the voting and the past couple seasons, similar to how Scott Rowland got in a few years ago. Rowland got in after climbing up the voting boards steadily during his time on the ballot. Dave Parker and Dick Allen, obviously, via the Veterans Committee. Well overdue for both of them. Dave Parker, especially, it's very sad that he passed away just a few weeks ago. His son giving a fantastic speech for his father, and the widow of Dick Allen giving the speech for him. Moving on to this year's Major League Baseball, rather than the years of the past that we honored this past weekend. The trade deadline is Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and we've already seen a couple of moves over the last week. Yeah, you saw Gregory Soto go to the Mets. Really, what everything kicked off was Josh Naylor being traded to the Mariners, and the Mariners still not done. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a bit. But so Naylor goes to the Mariners, Soto goes to the Mets. And then following that up, you get Ryan McMahon to the Yankees, Ahmed Rosario to the Yankees. And then on Saturday night, Randall Grichuk was sent to the Kansas City Royals. It's not an unbelievable move by the Royals to acquire Grichuk. I think it's a smart move. They've been missing some of the key pieces in the outfield this season. MJ Melendez obviously being sent down. Kyle Isbell not being the exact offensive firepower that you need. Hunter Renfroe was not that either. Caglione is still young. He's going to be a fantastic ball player, but they need more than just Jack Caglione out there in the outfield. And so they make a move to go get Randall Grichuk. Grichuk has been a solid major league player during his career, and he's headed to Kansas City. He's the second of many to be traded from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think you still see there's at least 3 on my mind and on my list that I believe are going to get moved by the end of the trade season by midday Thursday. I believe that Eugenio Suarez is going to be gone. I believe Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, both of those guys are going to be gone. And there are probably more that the Diamondbacks are looking to move after the Naylor trade. They said that they were looking to trade about 5 to 6 more guys. I think that that's entirely possible. I think that there's 3 big ones that are going to be moved. It just kind of depends on when that news comes, because with the Ryan McMahon trade, there was a little bit of a stall in the Eugenio Suarez market. The Yankees are out. That's the reason why they made the McMahon move. They made the McMahon move to play third base, and so he's going to be in there, and they're out on Suarez. It would seem if they go out and they make a move for Eugenio Suarez, I think you start to see a little bit of a different change in the Yankees uh, lineup every single day because Eugenio Suarez is going to be in the lineup every single day. He's having a fantastic season. Um, but I would lean towards the Yankees being out on him. It doesn't make much sense to make a move for Ryan McMahon and then go less than a week later and also add Eugenio Suarez. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So the two leaders for um, Eugenio Suarez, John Heyman reported that he believes that the Cubs and the Mariners are the two leaders for him. The Mariners obviously being a place that Suarez has played before. He was traded from Seattle to Arizona. Um, and I think that that is a not maybe not necessarily the key piece that makes Arizona move him there, but it does make it a more intriguing option, especially for Suarez, who ultimately does not have a no trade clause, does not have control over whether or not he is going to be going uh, to Seattle, back to a place that he's been, or if he's going to go somewhere completely different, like Chicago, place new, play a team that's looking for a third baseman. Matt Shaw has not been the right answer. Matt Shaw even got sent down at the beginning of the season, came back up, still has not quite figured it out. It's probably the guy in the future. He's young; it's his rookie year. He's a talented prospect, um, but I think that uh, Suarez makes much more sense for the Cubbies. Um, they need some power to add behind, say, a Suzuki, Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong. They need to add that. And with the prospect of Kyle Tucker potentially leaving at the end of the season, they really need to go out and get somebody because they need to take advantage of what they've got right now. Without Kyle Tucker, that team maybe isn't um, a playoff caliber team. I still think that they could be, but I think that Kyle Tucker brings up their value and is a great leader and does things the right way to propel them even further than if he wasn't there. So Kyle Tucker potentially leaving, they got to take advantage of it this season and go make a run. And I think the way that you do that is you say, "Hey, we're going to go get Eugenio Suarez. We're going to address our needs. We're going to go out and get starting pitching. That's another thing that the Cubs need behind Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga. They don't really have much of a reliable 3, 4, 5 in their rotation. So I think that they could benefit by maybe packaging um, Suarez and either Kelly or Gallen together and send them to Chicago. I think that Diamondbacks could bring in quite a big haul. Meanwhile, the Mariners, on the other hand, are also in the running for Eugenio Suarez, but they don't necessarily need the pitching. So their entire trade would be tailored to I want Eugenio Suarez. I don't care about anything else. You give me, I will give you what you want for Eugenio Suarez, and we'll call it at that. And so I think over the next 3 days, you're going to start to see um, a lot of heating up, especially it is trade season. It's the final 4 days before it wraps up. I think that you're going to start to see Suarez's name be floated around and see even more news about the All Star third baseman. And the McMahon trade also has another effect on a different market of third baseman. So Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals has a no trade clause. So for him to go, it has to be somewhere he wants to go. He's not going to go and accept a trade um, to Oak or to Sacramento, the Athletics, whatever you want to call them. He's not going to accept a trade to them. He's not going to accept a trade to a team that's not in playoff contention because the Cardinals are still 2.5 games out. And if he believes that they can get it done and they can go on a run, then he'll want to stay in St. Louis. So it's going to be very difficult to get him to go anywhere else. Teams that are looking for third baseman, another team that I think also maybe is even in on Suarez is, excuse me, even then is who he started with. He started with um, the Detroit Tigers, and I think that the Tigers would be a great fit for Suarez. They need to address some needs there. Um, and that's not to say that Zach McKinstry has not done a fantastic job playing third base. Um, but they've got a lot of mismatch playing guys playing different positions that maybe isn't necessarily their normal spot. And so I think if they went out and got Suarez, added that power to the lineup, then the Tigers, even though they're already um, one of the most probably my pick to come out of the American League this year. Um, I think that adding Suarez to that lineup makes them even more dangerous and adds to um, their their future. But when it comes to Arenado's maybe he goes and accepts a trade to Detroit. Maybe he goes and accepts a trade um, to the Yankees if they were still in the market for a third baseman. But I think it's going to be really, really difficult. And I don't think that the St. Louis Cardinals would trade him to Chicago. So that even knocks out another team. They don't want to send him to a division rival, let alone their biggest rival. They don't want to. They don't want to make that move. Um, so I think that what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of different rumors floating around, especially around the Cardinals. They have a rough start, a rough road trip to start the second half of the season. They then split the series with the Padres. They win the first two games, and it looks like, oh, we're gonna the Cardinals are gonna be right back in it, um, and we're gonna see them, be buyers at the deadline instead of being sellers. Whether that would have been the right move or not is yet to be seen. But then they go and they drop the last two of the series to the Padres, the team that they're chasing, and now they're right back where they were when they started the series against the Padres. So the Cardinals are in this weird little bubble spot, and they've got 3 games to figure out exactly what they're going to do because it is a very tight um, race for that final wild card spot. If they think that they can go and push for it, then I think that they will go and make a run at something, whether or not that's the right case or the right decision to make uh, for the Cardinals this season. Another piece is with the Grichuk trade. It kind of seemed like the Royals were going to stick around and not try and sell at the deadline, and they're going to try and go make a run at a wild card spot and just kind of sneak into the postseason and see what happens. Um, I think that that's not the worst case scenario for the Royals. And then they come out and they're yesterday, and there's reports that they're trying to extend Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo is a guy that is um, capable of being a starting pitcher for a contender and a playoff team, and he was one of the more sought after uh, starting pitchers. He was the runner up last year to Tariq Skubal in the Cy Young race. He's held a pretty steady stat line over the course of the 2 years, even with this season being just a smidge better. Um, so I believe that Lugo trying to get a deal done with the Royals tells me a lot that the Royals are going to want to be in this race and be in the hunt. And I think that that's something to keep an eye on because um, teams are looking for people that are uh, playoff caliber starters, including the New York Mets. They're in the market for a postseason starter. They're looking at Merrill Kelly, Seth Lugo, Dylan Cease, those guys that are expiring contracts at the end of the year. Um, would be a capable come in and be capable of picking up the ball in the playoff series. And then you also have two younger guys that have a little bit more team control, Joe Ryan and Sandy Alcantara. Sandy Alcantara, Cy Young a few years ago, has undergoes Tommy John, misses all of last year, comes back, has not been the same. Was thought to be the most sought after pitcher at the trade deadline at the beginning of the season. Um, does not end up being that kind of guy for the Marlins again this season. So now his value is kind of in this weird limbo, very similar to Luis Robert, who came in thinking that he was going to be uh, probably the big center fielder on the market, and he comes out and he struggles. Um, but Alcantara, the bonus with that is that if he does struggle this year, you do have multiple years, and he has shown that he's capable of being a Cy Young pitcher in this league, as he's already won it. And then you also have Joe Ryan from the Twins, a guy that has multiple years of team control as well. I would say, me personally, if I was to go out there right now and say if I wanted to trade for a starting pitcher, who would it be? It would be Joe Ryan. I love what I've seen from him this year. I think he's fantastic. I think he's going to uh, blossom into a perennial all star. And I don't know if he's going to win it, but I would like to think that he's going to be able to make a run at some Cy Youngs. Um, but being in the same league as Tariq Skubal, um, is not the easiest league to compete in for the Cy Young right now. Tariq Skubal's on a fantastic run, and you also have Garrett Cole, who's going to be coming back next season. So interesting looking for the Mets. They're also looking for a center fielder, so they've got a couple of ideas that they need to get nailed down in the next 3 days. Um, so it'll be interesting. They're looking at Luis Robert. Um, who, as we mentioned, was supposed to be the cream of the crop, should be traded away at the deadline. Um, Ends up having a struggle year. Teams think that maybe they can fix him, and even if he comes back, he's played fantastic defense, and if his bat starts to turn around, then he'll start to get better results and is going to uh, be the player that everybody thought that he was going to be. And the other person that the Mets are looking for is Cedric Mullins, and Cedric Mullins is a fantastic defender. Started the year hot at the plate, cooled off a little bit, and start to get going again of late. The Orioles, he's on an expiring contract. The Orioles are looking to address their needs for next season. Um, I think a big thing with the Orioles this year has been that they have just struggled. Um, Pitching wise, their offense has not been the worst in the world, but it has not been nearly the best. But their pitching has been pretty atrocious, and so trading some of their expiring contracts, Cedric Mullins, Ryan O'Hearn, trying to add pieces to come back next season and make a run is going to be a big key for the Baltimore Orioles. And then back to the Cardinals. The Cardinals, it was reported by Katie Wu, they're looking to trade Ryan Helsley, Steven Matz, Phil Maton, three guys that have been in their uh, bullpen of late. And Matz obviously was signed to be a starter, has a lot of injury issues, gets put in the bullpen this year and has been fantastic out of there. And so the big three um, that they're going to look to trade is Helsley, Matz, and Maton. If they make those moves, I think it's safe to say that the Cardinals think that they're out of it. If they hold on to two of them and trade one and try and flip to get something that they need, then it's a different story. Um, but I think that the Cardinals are probably going to trade at least two of those three away. Whether or not they get the third done um, is going to be up in the air. But they're obviously their big hitter is Ryan Helsley. He's going to be the most um, valuable asset that they can trade with the fact that he was the NL reliever of the year last year, uh, led the league in saves, is going to be a fantastic addition to anybody's bullpen, despite his little bit of a step back this season from last, but he is still getting the job done for the Cardinals. It is going to be interesting to see how the trade deadline shakes out. Um, Lots and lots and lots of rumors floating around uh, as the season progresses, as the week progresses, you're going to see more and more and more than you have seen. And I think you're going to start to see some of those bubble teams start to figure out exactly what they're going to do, whether it's the Cardinals, the Twins, the Royals. Um, you're going to start to see the teams, even the Reds, I think could be considered a bubble team. The Angels, absolutely a bubble team. I think you're going to start to see whether or not teams start to make the decisions and move forward with um, some of their either their trades and getting rid of expiring pieces and trying to reload for next season, um, trying to begin to fire sale like the Pirates. And I truly believe the Pirates are going to fire sale um, everybody except for Skeens and O'Neill Cruz. I believe Mitch Keller is going to be gone. Um, even Andrew Heaney could be gone. If a team happens to need a shortstop, Isaiah Kiner Falefa is probably the best one on the market. There's not a lot of great options out there. So it'll be interesting to see what the Pirates do as well. I think they're just going to fire sell and they're going to say if you want them and their name is not Paul Skeens and their name is not O'Neill Cruz, you can have them. They need to address some things. They've been stuck at the cellar of the NL Central for quite a while now, and it really feels like it's time for the Pirates to hit a hard reset and say, okay, we've got O'Neill Cruz and we have Paul Skeens, and we are going to figure out the other 24 roster spots later, and they are going to figure that out next season. Going into next season spring training, they're going to start to see exactly what the direction of their place is, because I don't believe that the Pirates are going to trade Paul Skeens. It would take a massive, massive trade to get him done, especially since it is only his second season in the league. It's only his first full season in the league. And I just don't think that with the amount of control and that they have on him and the fact that he's the best pitcher in the National League, I won't say baseball because I believe that's Tariq Skubal. Um, I believe he's going to go. And the reliever market's also very interesting because you also have Yohan Duran of the Twins, has some extra years on him. Emmanuel Clase. There are guys who also has some extra years on him. There are guys that are going to be multi-year trades in the bullpen, but I think that there's not a lot of that in pitching. There's not a lot of guys that are out there. I think that that's why you see the A's are getting ready to sell Springs, Sears, and Severino, because there's just not a lot of valuable, controllable starting pitching in the trade market this year. So there's a lot of expiring contracts, but there's not a lot of controlled starting pitching, or even if it's just controlled. And I think maybe it's he's got one more year left, but it's a player option, and I don't know if he's going to go there. But I think we can get either at least him to pick it up at the end of the season, or I think we can get an extension done and rearrange that contract. And I think that's exactly what the Royals are doing. They're trying to get an extension done, and so that they don't have to do that with Seth Lugo and trade him away, and let him either go to free agency and have to try and get him back if they want him. But it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. Once again, this has been the Unassisted Triple Play. I'm your host, Hunter Mulholland, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.